Carl here from Games, Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life, gbhbl.com, and I'm here with Johnny and Ellen of Newcastle thrash metal band Kilonova, a band you should be already aware of, but if you're not, you probably about bloody time you need to make yourself aware of them, because we're talking about up-and-comers in the UK scene. This is a band that is on everyone's lips, but both of them have had enough of the daily grind, lockdown, and destructive viruses, so I've decided to jump into our boat and go live out their remaining years in solitude. Kind of solitude because you're together on a very own desert island. As always though, we're not sending them alone or without items, and it's entertainment of 3 video games or 3 books, 3 horror movies and 3 records chosen by them. First things first though, let's get this out of the way. Welcome to Desert Island Dregs, guys. Starting with you, Ellen. How are you? We lost your sound.
Classic. Of course the vocalist loses sound.
You're there? Yeah, you are there now. Yes.
Okay. Apart from that mishap, yeah, no, good.
Yeah.
Stressed with just uni and everything, but you know, that's how it is.
Yourself, Johnny, how are you doing today?
I'm not too bad. Back at work as normal, you know. Nice to be back home. It's nice to actually be back working in an office, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It was the past few months difficult working at home. It's nice having some form of normality.
Okay, that's cool. So your offices have gone back, yeah?
Yeah, I've been back for a couple of months now, but it's just that comparison. It's nice, and it's just the fear of maybe having to work at home again. I'm not too happy.
Yeah. I mean, it's the elephant in the room that can't start any interview that we've done this year since freaking March without first talking about it. And it is basically, starting with you, Johnny. How have you been holding up personally throughout 2020?
Not too bad. I think everyone's had their ups and downs. I think what's kind of kept me and I suppose the band going is just having something to look forward to. You know, you've got to be a glass half full kind of person in these kind of times, you know. Yeah, fair enough, we can't go and play gigs, but we can't go write an album. You know, we can't practice together, but we can jump on Zoom, we can practice together, you know. It's just, you've got to make the most.
Yeah. What about you, Alan?
Yeah, no, it's been okay. You know, as good as it can be. Unlike Johnny, as I said, I finished my degree at uni. So that was quite difficult to do during lockdown, and then I got made redundant. So it's been a one, but you know, it's always been able to have the band there to keep it going and have something to look forward to.
So you think you've been able to keep in a positive mind frame, because that's quite a lot of things going on at once.
Yeah, I mean, you can either get swallowed by it or you can push through. Really. Yeah. Is that the kind of advice you'd give to anyone, I guess, who's facing what we are now about to hit in this country when it comes to difficulties coping? Just kind of push through, stay positive, right? Yeah, stay as positive as you can do, but also if you do need help, there are services out there. So.
Yeah. And of course, you guys, you're in Newcastle, right?
Yeah.
So you've been living with restrictions in this country than a lot of the rest of us. I currently am in London, so what you guys have been experiencing is not what I've been experiencing, but we're all in the same boat in a couple of days' time. How has that kind of made you feel?
Well, it is what it is. It's the way I see it. At the end of the day, you know, for every one person flouting the rules and another person taking it to an extreme, everyone's got to do you. Mm-hmm. You know, that's how I feel. You know, we've tried to put on a show during these times. Fair enough. A lot of people have said, you know, desperate to get out there. A lot of people have equally said, you know, a bit concerned about what's going on. And that's completely understandable. You know, it's, like I said, it is what it is.
Yeah. Have you found yourself disconnected from it in regards to the fact that, say, you were working at home? So, well, that was obviously quite different, but it kind of kept you at arm's length.
Yeah, it was. Working from home was very weird because I love the kind of homework duality as it is. You know, I like to be able to go out, go to a place, do a thing, come back home. And to be honest, when it was work from home, it started off great. You know, you can go to work in your pajamas, brilliant. But then after a few months, everything started. It became Groundhog Day. It was just blurring into one, and I found myself spending less time doing what I want to do, and a lot of time on video games. To be honest, I think my guitar maybe suffered a little bit, which I'm going to admit, but I did get very addicted to Call of Duty Warzone.
You're an artist. Well, during these down periods, you're supposed to be grinding out music. That's the only thing you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry with us. I think I'll be on 13 demos at the minute.
Yes, I was saying that we should have 100 demos, but you know that's just me.
So you completed your degree, Ellen. What was the degree in?
In music, undergrad in music at Newcastle.
Oh, awesome. Wow. So you've really, really kind of planned to make a career out of it.
Yeah, I'm actually doing my master's in music at the moment as well, and I'm going to start applying for my PhD to be a doctor in it.
Oh my God, that's incredible. Wow. All right, guys, let's get started with the first choices then. And it's video games or books. Now, there's two of you. So, how do you want to do this? Do you want to take one person, take all the nominations? Do you want to alternate? It's entirely up to you guys.
Do you want to alternate, Ellen, or do you want to... Why don't we both chime in when we've both got good answers? And with you today, best way.
Yeah, okay. Go for it.
Yeah, so do you want me to start?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go with games. Having just mentioned that I've really been absorbed in games lately. Now, you see, I tend to overthink everything. So when you say take games to a desert island, I start thinking, well, do I have internet?
Oh, yes, this comes up all the time. Of course you have internet. We're running a secret power line under the sand.
Right, brilliant. So obviously I won't be calling for help on the internet, but I will be playing these games.
Oh, it's restricted, mate. We're restricting internet access.
I mean, again, it's gonna make, well, most of my answers every day the answer will change to a degree, but at the minute it's number one out there. It's got to be Call of Duty Warzone.
Okay, is that
getting on?
Sorry, I was going to say I'm not up with the current Call of Duty games. I think probably the last one I played was Black Ops or one of those. So it's been a long time. Is that the latest release?
It's not. It's actually a standalone free-to-play game.
Oh wow.
Well, it goes hand in hand with the paid version. Though you play the paid version, get better stuff for the free one. But it's just the idea. It's basically the idea of Fortnite Battle Royale, but with Call of Duty's game engine. So you get on there with your friends. It's quite a laugh. It's very intense.
Yeah. You just think hours and hours into this. Yeah,
I mean, I'm almost ashamed to say how many days play I've had in the past 6 months. But yeah, I'm not going to say. No.
It's a free-to-play game.
Do it.
Okay, I think I'm on 9.5 days. I've clocked up on that game alone since February.
Wow, that's actually incredible. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Since February, that's nothing really, but yeah. Free-to-play game, does that mean it comes with the free-to-play attachments? You know, you talked about using the paid version to get items and stuff like that, but do you find it to be quite restrictive?
Well, the thing is, I bought the last Call of Duty in November anyway, so I've got the main game. I think it would be, if you're trying to play it properly, we're quite restricted if you hadn't bought the main game, but there's a lot of people, if you're a casual player, you'd probably have a decent time. Yeah, that's got to be my number one.
Okay, cool, excellent. Ellen, you're going to go next?
Yeah, so I'm also going to go with games, if that is all right. However, I am completely different to Johnny in the sense that my favourite game that I would take to a desert island would be Animal Crossing New Horizons. So it's obviously the game all metalheads are playing. It's so violent.
It can get pretty extreme.
Oh, you know, with those bugs and those nets.
I'll take it. It's a game you're pretty much on every day, yeah?
I was up until my Switch broke.
Oh, it's a shame.
I know. But yes, it's very addictive for how calming it is, to say the least.
No, I 100% agree. It's something I pick up every so often myself, and kind of get reminded that it's enjoyable, and it's kind of funny as well because obviously it was released just roughly at the start of kind of lockdown period, so it's quite a good escape for a lot of people. Almost like a very positive thing, really. Two very different games there, guys. Call of Duty, the violence, the adult theme stuff, and Animal Crossing, Nintendo's light and fluffy, dare I say, cloud-related stuff. Who's going to take the third then?
Well, I feel like after Ellen dropped the Animal Crossing bombshell, I should probably take another one. No, I will say in Animal Crossing's defense, Helen recently got my girlfriend, got Animal Crossing last week, and I'll tell you what, when I come home, well, we're both home from work, and I'm watching her play it, it's actually very relaxing just to watch. I can completely understand Alan's point, but I'm going to go complete polar opposite. Again, a game I've been obsessed with again this year, Doom 2016.
Doom 2016, okay.
Yeah, I think, for me, obviously the original's great, but I think I got 2016 at a time when I was just kind of getting into gaming again, and it just, it sets the bar for me quite nicely. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's got a great blend of over-the-top action set pieces, utter carnage gunplay, and horror and heavy metal elements.
What more could you want?
Yeah. Have you checked out, or are you going to check out the latest one, Doom Eternal?
I have. I got a day of release, but I've got to admit I did prefer 2016 overall. I think Eternal did take everything from 2016 and kind of ramped it up a level, but with that comes problems as well. I think some of the enemies got a bit too, I'll use it, awkward for me. I just wanted to run and shoot.
Okay.
Fucking marauder.
So that's two shooter games. Is that your preferred style of video games then, shooters?
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense. You chose those two, yeah. So, when we arranged this interview, it was planned as part of a build-up to Newcastle's first metal show. Many months. Time Bank Brewery Tap. Part of what was that? Tonight is Tuesdays. Can't even remember bloody writing. The show is on
Tuesdays.
November. Now, I'm presuming, making a bold prediction here, that is not going ahead.
No. Being in contact with the promoter today, I think after the news on Saturday, we're aware immediately it's going to have to be postponed.
Yeah.
We have. I don't think we've announced it yet, but we will. It'll be tomorrow. We'll be doing the announcement. But again, it's like we said, you got to be glass half full. We've got to focus on the positives. It's out of our control. Nothing we can do. Every ticket sold, because we've been told it's actually sold very well, considering we're in a tier 2 lockdown anyway. Every ticket sold is getting honoured. We're not interested in cancelling. It's got to be rearranged, because you've got to do what you can.
Yeah.
As soon as we had that show kind of announced and given to us by Alan Scorer, he's a fantastic person, by the way. He's organising a lot of shows during these hard times. But as soon as as soon as he came forward and offered us the show, it just put a big smile on all of our 4 faces, and it was the idea that we could get in a room with other people for the first time in months and bring them some joy as well. It was a mutual thing. We're really looking forward to it. So we're not going to cancel. It's going to be rearranged as soon as physically possible.
Yeah. When was the last time you played live?
The week before lockdown. We were on tour with Ash Breach, Doctor and Ritual Spirit, like the weekend before the lockdown came in.
What about going to gigs yourselves? When was the last time you went to a gig for your own enjoyment?
We went to that socially distanced one, didn't we, Johnny?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh, you did go to a socially distanced gig. Excellent.
Yeah.
It was the gig that became a meme for a while on Facebook. It was the Virgin Unity Arena. You had like the pods.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah, we went to one of those shows.
Wow. What were they called? The
Hunter? It was an indie rock band, and because we've done work with SSD Promotions, they managed to get us some free tickets.
Oh.
So we kind of, me and Alan went, we brought friends along. It was really good, actually. I could see some gigs going ahead in that kind of setting. Obviously others couldn't. It was just, to be honest, clinging on to something. Even standing in a pod with just a couple of friends, it was better than nothing.
Absolutely. Must have been quite surreal though, right?
Oh, massively. But do you know what it is? I actually quite liked the idea that I could stand in the pod and just get drunk. and not worry about finding a pod again. Straightforward.
I am at the end of middle of October, I went to my only gig during the lockdown period, a socially distanced gig, also at a very small venue in London called the New Cross Inn, and it was table service, black metal band, all that kind of thing. Very, very strange, very unusual. I wasn't that comfortable with it, in a sense, just because it felt weird. However, there were elements that I was like, at the end, being like mid-30s and having been going to gigs since I was like 15, where I was like, the parts of this I quite like the idea of just having my drinks brought to me and no one bumping into me. This is kind of, I could take this in the future. Whereas the pod idea, okay, I could go with that.
I'm not, I keep saying this, but not to sound like I'm getting old, but we went to see Slipknot in January at the arena. Me and Ellen went with my brother, and we had seated tickets, mainly because we got them last minute, but we had a gig the following day, and I thought, right, if I go standing, I'm going to dive into that pit, and I don't want to risk doing some damage the night before a big gig.
Yeah.
You know what it was? It's being able to sit there and just go to the bar and get a drink and just stand and watch the chaos. There was something quite cool about that.
I think if you do it every so often, it's not such a bad thing. It doesn't make you feel as old. It's when you're forced to and your knees are giving out and you've got to sit down for it, then you know, it is what it is.
I think my final gig before lockdown was it was Sabaton down at Wembley.
Oh, the SSC one, yeah.
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic. It was, if you're going to pick a gig to kind of go out to that you're not playing, that was the one. The production was just huge.
Are you worried about the future of the grassroots venues?
Yes.
Right, well, yeah.
Yeah, straight up. Even before the lockdown happened, a lot of venues in Newcastle were starting to get. It's really, really worrying because some of the venues that have closed were some of the places like we started, and you know, we hope that there's going to be something for bands when this lifts.
What would you've got any suggestions of what could be done to help, really, aside from the higher powers divvying up some money on a more local sort of level, particularly from fans' perspective? What can be done to help, in your opinion?
It's difficult. I think because we're about to go into another phase of lockdown, that makes it harder. Like currently, what I would have said is the best way to support the venues is just go and just have some drink. Even if you're just drinking soft drinks, whatever, just go, you know, get some cash flow going. If there's a gig, get a ticket, go along. You know, some venues have merch as well. You know, I know Little Buildings, I bought a great t-shirt from them over the lockdown that they sent out. It's just, you got to do anything you can. And I know I've said that and we're going at different rules from Thursday, but still the merch line might be available. Some of these venues might be starting to do takeaway, beers, whatever. It's just, everyone's struggling, but if you've got anything you can give, just help out wherever you can, because, you know, it's like to say, you know, don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Horror movie choices. Who wants to get us started here?
Ellen, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start this one. Started the last one.
I'm always interested by this.
So my number one horror film, at the moment anyway, is classic Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Why? What's so appealing about that?
I really, really enjoy more psychological horror films. Like, don't get me wrong, blood and gore, it's great, but if a movie can really get inside your head and mess it up, that's what I find quite appealing about films.
Is it still as enjoyable to kind of watch, considering so many elements of it have been parried and made memed and stuff like that?
I think it is. I think it also, especially for people who are first time watching it, they don't understand it. They'll probably be watching it and be like, so that's where that came from.
Absolutely. And what about have you ever read the book?
I struggle with reading personally, so no, I haven't. But is it a difficult read?
I haven't read it in a very long time. I don't think so. I mean, it's he's got a certain style that doesn't translate as well into his movies. It's sometimes very different things. The only one that's really accurate in regards to more violence is Hannibal. Talking of which, have you seen any of the following films after The Silence of the Lambs?
No, I haven't.
Okay, there's something to check out. There are some good stuff amongst that. Red Dragon, Hannibal. itself, yeah. But if you like the psychological, actually, you know what? Now I'm thinking about it. You like the psychological. The movie Hannibal itself is probably not for you because that's very stupid.
Okay.
Very stupid. Red Dragon a little bit more. Go on, Johnny.
Right. Well, you see, I kind of struggle to blur the line between horror and science fiction sometimes.
Oh, it's a very thin line, yeah.
It is. So there was one franchise that crosses. I'm going to go with this half, and I'm going to say the original Alien movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I just love that it was back at a time when, unlike the subsequent movies, it wasn't just showing you the alien everywhere. It was very much this thing that you didn't really fully understand what it was going through it. And that initial scene when it burst through his chest, that was fantastic.
There's a reason why, as you say, scenes like that and movies like that are considered iconic, and it's not just because of a certain time. Because I'm sure you'd agree with this. It's you put that on now, it holds up as strongly as it did back then, whereas a movie made 5 years ago can look like absolute trash.
Yeah, I was watching this yesterday because we didn't actually run out of time. We're going to watch Pet Sematary last night.
Okay.
And I was, which one do I watch, the original or the new one? And it's funny because you see so many kind of comments online, people say, CGI these days, it's fantastic, but it doesn't hold up to just practical effects. It can go further, and it's that old toss-off. Which is why, again, I think, as we were saying, the first Alien film, just brilliant.
Do you like any of the sequels?
I do. Alien 3, it's quite good. I think Resurrection, not so good. Prometheus had potential, and I think it was a little bit wasted. And then it gets a bit silly with Alien versus Predator. That just gets a bit.
If you want to do a franchise hunt, there's plenty out there for you to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And we're coming back to you, Alan, for the third one.
Yeah, can do. So I would say I watched a movie last night, actually, that I'd never seen before. Cool. That was a horror film. And I thought it was really, really good, so I've written it down. And it's the original Night of the Living Dead. The classic zombie film.
Oh, you'd never seen that before?
No.
That's amazing.
And obviously it's in black and white, and some scenes are of its time. But I thought it was really interesting where, the kind of concept of zombies that we see them now kind of came from.
It's amazing. Generally, I don't think I've ever spoken to anyone in my entire life who's not seen that movie. So for you to have only just seen it is awesome. Such a fresh take on it to a film I don't think I'd want to watch now because of having seen it so many times. I mean, zombies, it directly influenced the creation of the website and the brand itself. So are you now tempted to kind of follow that thread along and say, watch the 90s color remake of it?
I'm intrigued. I may give it a go. How does it hold up compared to the other one, the original?
I'm the wrong person to ask these questions. I am a terrible horror movie fan. I literally spend my life watching horror and writing about it and stuff like that. So it's turned me into a bit of a cynical git sometimes, and I have to kind of check myself. And I'm like, automatically I'm going, right, well, it's good at this and it's bad at this and it's good at this and bad at that. I think it's a good zombie film, and that's no bad thing. There's that's a path you can experience all the way with all the sequels that would come out, like Romero's other work, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. Are those movies you've never seen either?
Yeah. So I watched, what was the other one I watched? 28 Days?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, that series is good.
Amazing. You've got so much to watch.
I know. When it comes to horror movies, as I say, I'd rather watch like The Shining, Carrie, and stuff like that. But yeah, I'd never really seen any of like the proper
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Oh, cool.
I'm glad you mentioned actually, because 28 Days was actually on my original list of 3.
Oh, right. Okay. You took it off.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it would have been, I suppose, had you done the original. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I do have to give a special mention to Dog Soldiers, though, with Token Jody.
Yeah, that's... No one ever mentions Dog Soldiers. Excellent.
Yeah, we with a few friends a few years ago. We booked like a cottage in the middle of nowhere and just got really drunk and sat and watched Dog Soldiers.
That's very horror movie.
Yeah, we weren't leaving the building, but it was good.
So guys, we've talked about the negative side of this year. Let's look at some of the more positive sides of this year and the future of the band. What is basically going on in your camp as of right now? We've talked about having demos on the way, Obviously the show isn't going ahead. What else have you guys been doing?
Well, we've been trying to just kind of grind away as best we can. Well, even for the show, we're going to drop 2 new songs actually.
Oh, awesome.
But obviously that's going to be a later time now. But yeah, just really cracking on with the album. It was 13 demos in varying stages. I reckon we've probably got 6 or 7 that could almost be recorded as is. But what we want variety. We don't want to just kind of write 10, record 10, send out 10. We want maybe 13, 15. Pick the best of the best and really become enemies trying to decide which one's the best.
Okay, cool.
I've already told you we should have 100 demos before we do that, but you know.
Okay. Well, depending on when this lockdown ends, we might have 100 demos next time you talk to us.
Exactly.
What about?
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say we're not really. I mean, we've got a show booked for May. Is it Call of the Wild?
Call of the Wild.
But aside from that, we're kind of. Well, I would say we're kind of staying off of booking shows only because we wouldn't want to announce something like we've unfortunately had to, and then have to postpone it for ages.
Yeah.
That would be my take on it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look at May. You look at May and you think, okay, cool. That hopefully will be a legit chunk of time to see where things are at, and then you start wondering, wow, 2021's gig calendar. Let's go with the presumption that everything's good come March, April time. 2021's gig calendar is going to be insane for all bands.
Yeah.
What about streaming and doing like streaming live shows and stuff like that? Is that something that's come your way and been considered?
We've spoken about it. I think the difficulty is, to be honest, just getting the sound right. Because we're quite lucky. We've got quite a nice rehearsal space we can use. We've got all our mixer, we've got the microphones, but to be honest, I think a band of our size, it is going to be more difficult unless we go to somewhere professional to do it, like help us with it. And when we're trying to kind of put all our attention and money into getting the album done, you start thinking it's not an expense as well.
Yeah.
And it's a very fine line between this will be really cool and it could also go terribly wrong.
Yeah.
So we've held off at the minute, but again, if this extends for much longer, maybe we'll do it that way. Exactly.
Kilonova Christmas album 2020.
Yes. Oh my God. Last year, all we did was moan and bitch about the simple fact that modern bands aren't doing Christmas albums. And that if you want to listen to Christmas music, you've got to go back to the bloody 80s. We need more modern bands. Get out, at least do a single, please. It'll be awesome.
Okay.
Proceeds to charity will help fund it.
I am desperate to do some stupid covers.
Yes.
One we've been practicing. I mean, me and Joe me and Joe have been dicking around with the bloody Stonecutter song from The Simpsons.
Okay. Oh wow.
Yeah.
I know it. Yeah.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
Gutenberger style. We do. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, obviously Dr. Zeus as well. Monorail song. You know, it's just why we're writing new music when the golden stuff's in The Simpsons.
What are you talking about, Johnny? All you do when we have a break is play Jurassic Park.
Oh, that's amazing. So don't be embarrassed what I'm about to say, but you're considered one of the brightest and most exciting bands in the UK right now, being embraced by fans of all styles of metal. Have you had that moment yet where you sit back and think, oh, okay, this is working out for us?
Just right a second, right now. After you said that.
I think that there's been a few moments we've had as a band where we don't look at it as a kind of, ooh, this is going well. I think we just take a stepping stone at a time. And I think for me, one of my favorite moments recently I say recently, I mean, it must have been about 6 months ago now, if not more. It was last time we played Sheffield. And we pulled kind of it felt like we were playing a home show. The crowd was really into it. It was a packed venue, and it was like, oh, we've kind of got what we've got in Newcastle somewhere else. And just that to me, it was a big deal. I really enjoyed that. We're desperate to go back and play again. We're meant to play in, I want to say June.
Was it June?
It was June or July.
Yeah, we had a load of shows booked, didn't we? That's the thing.
Yeah, but I think that was one of the more recent moments for me where I don't know, I just felt really good about the band.
Your rock star moments.
Well, we got asked for an encore, and I think I'd switched my mind off, to be honest. I fudged the mortal I've got with me.
I think for me, one of those moments happened. It was more of a humble thing.
Okay.
Was when we recently sold our first bit of merch to someone in Germany, and for me that was just like, oh my god, people actually know who we are. So hopefully one day we'll get to Germany. That'll be really cool.
Yeah, would that be kind of like the next sort of major, massive step up? Is something a little jaunt around Europe?
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
That would be really cool.
Okay, guys, records then. 3 records. This no doubt was incredibly difficult when you could only have to choose 3, but when you only got potentially 1 or 2, that's just a lot harder.
Oh. Do you want me to go first this time then?
Yeah, sure.
Well, you already know what my top one's going to be.
Yeah, I know what it's going to be.
Okay.
Right, well, if I'm going down from 3 to potentially 1 or 2, I'm going to have to go with my favourite all-time album, which is Metallica, Ride the Lightning.
Oh, wow. Why is that your all-time favourite?
I think it's just, as albums go cover to cover, aside from maybe one track, it is just, you know which one.
I'm wondering, I really want to know which one it is, because there's one track in it. I share your love of that album, but there's one track I'm a little bit iffy on. Is it?
It's Escape.
Oh, okay. Very, very good. Okay. All right.
It's, to be honest, like, even listening to Escape, if a hard rock band released Escape, it'd be a great song. It's just when it's put alongside like For Whom the Bell Tolls, Creeping Death, Call of Cthulhu, and then my favourite off the album, Fade to Black. You know, it just, what would have been a decent song just pales in comparison to the rest of it. Yeah. It's just a heavy metal masterpiece.
No, I totally agree with you. Metallica's in my veins, what I grew up listening to. It's why I like heavy metal. Is that a similar path for you? Are they quite influential on you?
They were. Well, my first metal album was, well, my dad came home with Death Magnetic.
Oh, wow.
And he told me to listen to this, and I was like, I'm listening to bloody Granddad's music. That was my impression, you know, being kind of 15, just oh. But then I did play it, and they just so happened to be playing Newcastle 3 months later.
Oh, wow.
So it went from never hearing this band to seeing them live within 3 months, and that was it.
That was it. That's wonderful.
Picked up a guitar that year.
Oh, wow. That is honestly wonderful. I'm sure, like, if you ever get the opportunity to tell them that, they would love to hear that.
Yeah.
Go on then, Ellen, you up?
Okay. So I have a different style of metal compared to Johnny. Johnny's definitely more, 80s kind of metal side of things, I would say. However, me growing up as a teenager in like the late 2000s, I was really influenced by like the whole metalcore vibe. So my #1 album, I would have to say, would be Motionless White Creatures.
Oh, wow. That is the first time Motionless White has ever been mentioned on this channel, I think. So that is awesome. Why? So,
they were kind of one of the first bands I properly started listening to in metal. And for me, lyrically, like they're mint. I found them very, very good to kind of listen to if I was feeling, how to say it, like Immaculate Misconception, for example. It's very much an angry song, but then in the kind of breakdown section, it's got the section bit about to all the kids whose letters I've received, the brokenhearted, the damaged just like me. It's like, it's very kind of And then I saw them live,
Okay.
and I met Chris Motionless, and I fell in love with him. And oh my God, I love him so much.
Do you find yourself getting quite defensive though? Because obviously Motionless in White, they're a polarizing band, so to speak. So do you, if you're obviously on the side that adores them, so do you find yourself often in conflict with people over it?
Johnny, do I find myself in conflict about Motionless in White with anyone?
I wonder.
Okay.
No, it's not that I don't dislike Motionless in White. I think it's funny in the band. I think it works to our benefit that between the four of us, our favourite bands are very different, which I think helps. I mean, you know, if my favourite band was Motionless in White and so was Joe's and Steve's, we'd end up writing a tribute album.
That's
Whereas because I'm a huge Metallica fan, Ellen's not a massive Metallica fan, Joe likes to go Gojira, Mastodon. You know, I like a bit of that. Steve loves bands like Avenged, Sevenfold. Just this collective mix where you can't just copy your heroes. You've got to manipulate. I think it works.
Yeah, you're bringing a hefty amount of influences through all your personal tastes.
Yeah.
And as always, it should seem super, super simple. Like what you like, don't be a dick. It's simple as that. So who cares? Yeah. Okay, who's going to take the third one then? Who wants to do the third and last one? Over it.
Well, my third one is greatly influenced by the show I already mentioned earlier in the year, and I haven't been able to stop playing Sabaton's album Great War since I bought it last year. I think it was just, I got it at a time when I knew I was seeing them in a few weeks' time after buying it at Bloodstock last year.
Oh,
fantastic.
You were there?
Yeah, I go to Bloodstock every year. I've been going 8 years now, I think.
Oh, wow.
It's just a great festival, you know, because I've got friends all over the country. So it's kind of our one chance a year to just say, right, that's it. We're all going to be in the same place, same time. And it's just nice. We get tickets before the lineup's announced. We know it's going to be good, you know. And even if it's a band we don't want to see, you see each other for the first time in a year. Great weekend. But with Sabaton, it's all at Bloodstock, great. It's all at their own headline show, even better. I think just listening to the album, it just reminds me of the whole thing. Really, really enjoy it.
It certainly encapsulates what they were going for in the concept, don't you think?
Very much so. I mean, even when their stage crew are wearing military uniforms, you think they're going all out here. It's just, it's a spectacle to see. It's
interesting because so you mentioned Bloodstock and I can't tell you. So I'm not big on Sabaton, but I can't remember what year it was. Maybe 2016. Bloodstock. They were subbing under Trivium, so you would have been there at that time. They were sub-headlining, had an hour slot, and Trivium were the headliners. Do you remember that year?
I do. I remember because I'm going to admit this. I've said the Sabaton album's my one of my favorites, but I didn't get into Sabaton until after. I think it was actually just after that show. Because I remember standing back watching them, thinking I kind of get this, but I kind of wasn't there yet.
Oh, so it was that show that I was like, oh my god, that's spectacular. I loved it, and then obviously it would come back in headline last year and so on. Yeah.
I just remember standing there in daylight and just seeing it was just the charisma, the whole, you know, pyro galore, a tank on stage. I mean, what more could you what more could you want?
Ellen, are you much of a Bloodstock goer?
No. My first time was when we played, and then I did want to go, obviously, this year.
Yeah.
But unfortunately it got cancelled. But I normally used to go to Download War.
Oh yeah.
Only because one, like when I was a bit younger, I wasn't really sure. I wasn't really aware that Bloodstock was a thing. But as I've gotten older, I've kind of noticed that I'm definitely more inclined to go to that festival over Download, for example.
Well, it's the community aspect as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
When you've only got 20,000 people in the field, you know, and you can walk from your tent to the main stage in 10 minutes, you know, and you've got some class acts on. I mean, Judas Priest, you know, you get a ticket to Bloodstock's only about 150 quid. You'd pay 60, 70 quid for Priest alone.
Yeah,
you know, it's bargain.
This is the Bloodstock appreciation interview now because you know, my festival started at Download, then Sonosphere came along. Do you remember Sonosphere? And Sonosphere was banging. And
Sonosphere 2014. I think that is the best lineup of festival I've ever been to.
Was that the by request, Metallica by request year? Yeah. Okay, I was there as well.
You had Maiden one night, Metallica the next night, but over the weekend you had Anthrax do 2 sets, Hailstorm, you know, Dropkick Murphys, Slayer.
It was a good festival, and sad it's gone.
It was fantastic. Oh, definitely.
I'm just going to chime in and say that I was way too young to go to that festival then. What was it, 2014?
2014. Don't say how old you were.
Yeah, so I would have been like, what, 15, 16? Around there?
So would a realistic goal for you guys in the band be to Bloodstock, yeah? Get back to Bloodstock?
Oh, 100%. I think that would be the dream. I think I was actually watching some footage back, 'cause I found it on my computer the other day. Because Bloodstock was our 5th show or 6th show as a band, I'm kind of watching back and I'm thinking, oh, it's good, but I don't know if it's just me being really critical. I'm watching thinking, oh, I stopped doing that around show 10. I stopped doing that around show 20, and it's kind of, I think going back now and being able to kind of look at the footage side by side, I'd love to do that, because like we've learned so much.
You must look and realise the opportunity is very, very open for you. There are many bands who took their position, whether it be the New Blood, Jaeger and stuff like that, and who are now playing the selfie stage and stuff like that. Does that kind of encourage you?
It gives you a drive.
Yeah, it's what we hope for. Definitely.
You know, if at the end of the day, you can do anything if you try hard enough. So all we can do is just give everything to it. If it works out, fantastic, and if it doesn't, we're giving our best.
Think about the pyro.
Yeah.
So, social media then, guys, is it a strong part of your outfit, or is it something you kind of force yourselves to do as a necessary evil?
Ellen knows more about social media than me.
Yeah, I mean, we're mostly active on our Facebook and our Instagram. When it comes to Twitter, though, I've got no idea how to use that personally.
That's Joe's domain.
Yeah, that's Joe's domain.
Okay, cool. You are sharing the responsibilities of it.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I think it's good. It obviously means that we're able to have fans in various different places. The only downside of it is that unfortunately some promoters or some people that may want to book you might see, oh, you've only got X amount of likes. But it might not actually reflect how many people that would turn up to the show or things like that.
Yeah.
And the other issue with the whole social media side is obviously you can buy followers and you can buy likes and all that. And so when you look at some pages, you're kind of wondering whether or not it's genuine or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got 25,000 followers but 2 likes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not even that as well. You can get 25,000 likes, but does that translate into music sales or merch sales or anything like that?
Exactly. But no, I think especially these days, social media is very important. You know, in the current circumstances we're in, you've got to keep active. You know, you've got to put out whatever you can. You know, we've been doing little bits here and there where it's just, you know, myself playing guitar for 30 seconds or Joe teasing a riff or something. Just, you got to try and keep people entertained.
Well, it's no longer an option. It seems. It's as much part of being a band as picking up a bloody instrument is.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, that's where the young and up-and-comers kind of have the leg up compared to, say, the guys that are still going from the 80s and the 90s and who are now having to enter this world of streaming and YouTube and all that and work out how the hell to do it, algorithms and stuff.
Yeah, trial and error.
Yeah, exactly that.
There are features though, you know, on like Instagram and stuff like, I think it's the business side of it, that makes it a bit easier to kind of show you like, oh, well, you get this amount of interaction at this time because this is when most of your followers are most likely on. So that's helpful.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're left in the dark, which is good.
Yeah, no, I get that. If you could put if you could put yourselves, right, so you're going to do this, put yourselves on a bill with three, I can almost do this for you. You've already told me. Three of your biggest influences, who would you choose? So Metallica, Motionless in White, and someone else.
We've actually had a discussion a few times, haven't we, Alan, in practices to kind of who would be the ideal band to support as a band that we all equally enjoy.
Okay, cool, yeah.
And I think the name that was banned around, correct me if I'm wrong, Ellen, I think it was probably Lamb of God.
Yes.
I think we said Lamb of God. It's one of the few bands that actually influences us all quite a bit. We all love Lamb of God, and I think we fit well with them.
I think in terms of what would be realistic, what we'd hope would be realistic in the next year or so, and mainly because they're amazing, would be alien weaponry. Someone we definitely kind of want to try and get on and play with.
Absolutely, yeah. If you're talking about someone making waves, there's a band. Okay, got another big difficult one for you then. What excites you in music these days?
Johnny.
I'm going to use the normal
wide and open and forcing you to really think.
I'm going to do the normal Zoom thing where you pretend to take a drink for a few minutes.
Yeah. Oh no, the screen's frozen.
Do you mean, when you say that excites you, do you mean like a band? Do you mean people like creating things?
It could be whatever you want to be. It can be something, whether it be a visual thing, it could be the music, it could be a band, it could be a particular artist, a style, something that I guess, when you regularly, like you guys do, when you regularly listen to rock and metal a lot of the time, you can sometimes get bogged down in similar styles and stuff like that. And then something jumps out at you. You kind of mentioned Alien Weaponry is a good example of a band that's kind of jumped out quite recently and grabbed a lot of people's attention in a certain way. I guess is there something like that for you guys?
Yeah, I always like it when bands take risks. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a Metallica fan, the kings of taking risks.
I take it you like Lulu.
Well, I'm sitting on a table, but no, some risks don't always work. But I like it when the band's got the balls to just say, right, this is what we're doing, like it or not. I like saying that again. So that's what I like it. I also like when bands kind of maybe strip back a little bit. I mean, it gets a lot of criticism, but an album, Hilt of the King by Avenged Sevenfold, when that first came out, I found that quite exciting because it was very much it was a contrast to a lot of what I came before. It was slower, but I don't know, there was quite a bit of depth to it, and I really enjoyed it.
I like that album.
Whereas a lot of people slated it for, this song sounds like sad but true, this song's like this. I think, well, at the end of the day, every song's ripped off something if you go look hard enough, ultimately.
Yeah.
It just quit the belly ache and then just listen to what you like. I really enjoyed it.
I think for me, it's not really directly related to like bands or anything like that. But something I'm finding really interesting at university at the moment is how much more academic writing there is about our genres. And it's good to see that we're actually starting to be more respected in terms of actually being a genre, rather than just being like, they're the kind of, the people that don't conform, in a sense.
Yeah. Okay, it's more academic though, yeah?
Yeah, sorry to be boring.
No, that's fantastic, because obviously normally when you get, if you're getting our music, our style of taste and stuff like that in print, it normally is preceded by something horrible and as to why we're even being mentioned. So to see there's anything like that going on, it's not well known, so it's a damn good thing.
I think while we're on the topic of university, Ellen, do you want to briefly tell the story of one of your performances that we had to do in King's Hall?
Please tell.
So talking about bringing metal into university, during one of my exams in my final year, I had to basically do a performance at the King's Hall, which is also the place that Martin Luther King got his honorary degree from Newcastle. We turn up in this massive acoustic room designed for classical organs and classical piano and violin and all that. We turn up in our gig attire and start playing thrash metal, So all of these elderly people just sat down. And to say the least, we only had one person walk out, so that's always good.
I think my favourite moment of the entire thing was immediately before we came on. Somebody went round and went, this next band, they're a bit loud, so we've got earplugs. And there's a few people laughing, and then this person's face went, no, we're being serious, please.
Oh, man. Amazing. That's an experience you're never really going to get to do more than once, so hell, it's a memory.
I'll tell you what, I think Steve was saying one of his favourite memories is, if you've ever had a bunch of university professors mic up a drum kit, I'll tell you what, it sounds amazing.
It sounds really good.
Oh, that's awesome. Right, before you go, guys, we said at the very, very start, one more item, the secret item, which is basically something in your life that you think you cannot live without, that you can bring. It can be anything you want.
Oh,
The cat!
No one's done a cat before. I don't see why not.
Rosie, you're hating me. Yeah, so I bring my cat who wants to get off right now, Rosie, because she's the best thing ever, and I love her.
Cat it is. Can't argue with it. It's your choice.
Oh man, you put me on the spot here, because there's really got to be one answer, if I'm being fair. And of course, you know, I couldn't. You've got to take long-term girlfriend.
Okay. Not allowed to bring a person. Not allowed to bring a person. It has to be something.
Ah, right. Okay, that gets me off the hook if I don't say it then.
Yeah,
right.
I was expecting you to say your guitar, because that's what musicians almost always do, and then act really guilty about it.
Yeah, well, I thought I'd take a different thing, but if I'm not allowed to pick my girlfriend, no guilt, guitar, 100%.
See, I swear, every time we do this with a band, you make me go after right. I'm going to have to put an asterisk next to that point and say you're not allowed to do this, not allowed to do that, because everyone just tries to break the rules. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Basically, that's it. Well done.
Thank you very much for having us. I've really enjoyed this.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/GBHBL, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?